Hi, good evening to our audience from Southeast Asia. I see a lot of you guys joining in now. And bom dia to our JIL Portugal team. Thank you for joining our webinar session today. I'm Marilyn from JIL Singapore International Residential Team, and I'll be your host for today's webinar on Portugal. This webinar is a collaboration between JLL Southeast Asia and our team in Portugal. We did a webinar for Portugal in May this year and received lots of queries thereafter. So today we'll be doing an update and also to touch on the Golden Visa program, as there were some announcements over the past few months regarding the scheme. So allow me to introduce the agenda and panelists for today. First, we will have Neo from JR Portugal, who will touch on Portugal's real estate market overview and trends. Next, we have Filippo from JR Portugal, who will introduce two Lisbon investment opportunities. Thereafter, Ricardo from Martinez Law Firm will be giving us an update on the Golden Visa scheme. So please do stay with us for the Q&A session at the end of the webinar. And to make this webinar more interactive, we will be conducting a poll. We'll greatly appreciate if you guys could participate in this poll. It will be interesting to know your views, and we will share with you on the results later. Without further ado, I'll pass over to Neo to begin his presentation. Over to you, Neo.
Hey everyone, my name is Neo. I was born in Malaysia, and in my university I studied in Singapore and became as an engineer. Actually, in 2013, I came to Portugal, and I was impressed, and I realized this is a place that really full of opportunities because it has really beautiful weathers, it has really great foods, and the people are really kind here. But also, at the same time, in many sectors, it can still take much more improvements. So in 2014, actually, I've chosen to move to Portugal, and I had worked since in the real estate sector. Right now, I'm working for JL Portugal, and today we will spend some minutes for me to show you updates about Portugal real estate market, and we will also touch on the impact of the virus on the economy. So just a quick short introduction about Portugal. On the little map here on the left, you can see the three locations of interest in Portugal, which is the Lisbon, the capital, and we also have Porto on the north, which is the tourist destination, and Algarve on the south is the holiday city, and also a lot of choice for a second home for foreigners and locals. So JL Portugal has been operating in Portugal for over 20 years, since the 90s. And currently we have 3 offices in the country, and 1 more will be open soon in the southern region of Algarve. As we can see here, these are some of the direct flights available from Lisbon. Portugal is very well connected to the rest of the world and actually becoming one of the most interesting tourist, business, and retirement hubs. Since we are going to talk about the real estate market today, first and foremost important criteria for real estate investment, I believe, is to choose a good place to live. And Portugal is one of the oldest countries in Europe. It gains its fame during the age of discovery. Here you can see a lot of cultural heritage. And we have 300 days of sunshine per year. And from the picture on the right top here, you can see is the Commerce Square. The one in front of the Commerce Square is right directly is the river, Tagus. It is not the sea, it's a very big river. The widest width has around 17 kilometers. So we have extremely pretty coastline, as you can imagine. The closest beach from Lisbon city center is only 15-minute driving distance. So also for our fellow Singaporean and Malaysian audiences here, it is well worthy to mention the great quality of foods here that all of you must be concerned. The seafood here is especially good. Other than the tourism attraction, so why Portugal as an investment destination? The first and most important I want to emphasize is the safety. As you can see, Portugal is one of the safest countries in the world. It is a factor that mostly appreciated by a lot of international buyers. It has a very strong and growing economy based on technology and innovation for the past 10 years. So Portugal, other than that, also has an excellent health and educational system. All the legal citizens has the legal right to enjoy them. So for all of you investors who want to invest in the Golden Visa or move here to live as a legal citizen, you could enjoy all this right. And it is definitely, for me, one of the best European country with the good quality of life. So we will touch a little bit on the market overview. The residential market has been performing well in spite of the health crisis. You can see here, the price growth is over 15% comparing to the previous year. The international and local buyer has been extremely active, and it's led to all this price growth. And Portugal has attracted many investors, and it has a very healthy domestic housing market. And also, it is very important to emphasize here the political, social, and economic stability of Portugal. It's really good. It has put Portugal as one of the top lists on the international buyers. That is a safe market to invest. And compared to other European countries, Portugal has some of the low density population cities. It has the lowest stock capacities in regard to the number of inhabitants. This means that it signifies that there is need for more housing units in the market. Also, the rental market is underdeveloped right now in Portugal. It still needs much more demand, and it has an enormous potential to grow. There is only 19% of total offer in Lisbon, which means only 1 out of 5 units is available for rental in Lisbon. And the residential rental yield here, as compared to the yield of other sectors, has been very stable throughout the past 10 years. We are talking about the number 3 to 5%. And in contrast, just give an example of the yield of the office has dropped from 7% to 5% on the 10-year span. And Portugal is being nominated as the best country for the relocation of expats. And here we can see especially the digital nomads that are moving to Portugal because of its growing economy, its rich culture, the good history, and the amazing quality of life. So we have been witnessing over the years the increasing interest of some of the biggest real estate investment funds also looking at Portugal. And we will see here the collected data of the Portuguese Statistics Institute. It shows a steady growth of sales over the past 8 years from 2013. This is because 2012 was hit hardest by the financial crisis in Portugal. And 2013, Portugal government launched the Golden Visa as well as some tax benefit. So it create a steady growth of the sales, and it's not only in the sales of increase in the number, it's also the total volume of investment. And now we are reaching 2020. So on the first quarter, we saw a Portugal residential market reach a 40% increase in transaction compared to the same period in 2019. The capital is here, and the will is also here in Portugal by the foreigner and the domestic buyer. Having to say this, the pandemic does create a small adjustment on 2020, but in general, we predict that in 2021, it remains optimistic. We believe we will witness a recognizable recovery of our residential market as one of the most resilient and attractive place to invest in Europe. Quick overview about the residential real estate market in Portugal. We have the buying market has 57% of it. The real estate transactions were done by the international buyer, which made up of 47 different nationalities. Then the top 3 here are being Chinese, French, and Brazilian. The most typologies are 2 bedrooms apartments, and the most demanded residential unit has price ranging from 250,000 euro to 700,000 euro. And here we want to show you a little bit of the transaction numbers of Portugal. It's indicated above the year. Here we are showing from 2015 to 2020. The number indicated above are the Golden Visa applicants per year. Seeing the numbers, like taking 2019 as an example, it has 181,000 of residential transactions, and only 1,332 is on the Golden Visa applicants. It's actually translate into a less than 1% of transaction. So, and the Golden Visa is still main focus in the capital Lisbon. But this is to give like confidence to all the international investors. the Portugal real estate market is not only dependent on the golden visa, and the domestic and the international market is very active disregard of the golden visa. So it is creating a very stable investment environment. But nevertheless, the golden visa programs remains an attractive legal mechanism that attract foreign investment. It is because of the interesting requirements here. And for those who doesn't know, golden visa, the most popular scheme is on the real estate investment. We have the 500,000 real estate investment as well as the 350,000 regime. And the 500,000 is very simple, just a very quick recap. It is you need to purchase one or more properties that is equal or greater than 500,000, and you are already eligible for the real estate golden visa investment. Whereas the 350,000 golden visa, other than the properties, you need to do rehabilitation work, and the properties has to be located in an urban rehabilitation area for more than properties older than 30 years. And the most interesting requirement of golden visa Portugal is that you only required to spend averagely 7 days per year in Portugal. And after 5 years, you will have the option to apply for the permanent residence and citizenship. Just to emphasize here, in JL, we do have like the profile for the 500,000 golden visa as well as the 350 golden visa. You can keep in touch with our sales team, and then we will help you on that. So the total applicants for golden visa up to date is 9,200. And on real estate properties investment, it has taken 8,650 of them. So which is more than 90% of the golden visa are on real estate investment. It has a total investment of 4.9 billion. And who is renting in Portugal real estate market? Portugal is a really international hub. You can see from the national rental market here, it is falling a weight of 47% on international market itself. The most demanded typology is among 1 to 3 bedrooms, and the 60% of rental demand has taken between 1,000 to 2,500 euro. Due to COVID pandemic, we would like to give some updates to all the audience here about some surging trends in the real estate market in Portugal. We are seeing in this year, there is a very high increase in the search of private outdoor areas. Most of the investor or buyers have bigger concern for the surrounding neighborhood on the available infrastructure and also on the bigger living area dimension. It's because a lot of people are working from home to accommodate extra office and workspace. They prefer to have a bigger area. So, and also because of this, there is also having a higher concern of technology, a broadband internet and technology that can provide a comfort level. It is something in the market is really required right now. So hopefully my share today can help all of you to understand better about Portugal and also the real estate market. If any question, you can continue to ask me in the Q&A. Thank you, and I will pass it back to Marilyn.
Thank you, Neo, for the insightful presentation on Portugal. For participants who may have any questions for Neo, please remember to post it in the Q&A box and we will address them towards the end of the webinar. Next, we have Filippo from JLL Portugal, who will touch on 2 investment opportunities in Lisbon. Over to you, Filippo.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining our webinar. Before we start, I want to comment very quickly on the poll results. I see lots of you already filled in the questionnaire and the responses are still coming in, so feel free to respond. But in general, I can see that half of you, around 50%, already been to Portugal, which is surprising and good. Also, it's an indication that Portugal is more and more on the map as an interesting tourist and business destination. So lots of you already been, and for the rest, we hope once the travel restrictions are lifted, you will be able to come and visit. This is actually a trend that we are seeing. So many Europeans that are allowed to move around Europe, they are relocating to Portugal because the quality of life here is excellent weather. And as Neo said, this is a great attraction for foreigners that want to relocate here. And this is also reflected in your answers, because lots of you the majority responded that they are looking for a city apartment, which is what we will cover today in the investment opportunity. But also lots of you are looking at properties by the beach or in a golf resort, the beach being the second most clicked response. And of course, this is one of our offering. So today we'll show two opportunities which we regard as the best at the moment in central Lisbon. However, we do have properties all over the country. We do have villas by the beach. We have villas in a golf resort, and we have also farms and other type of properties. Again, for the golden visa, we do have the 350, 400 and 500,000 golden visa. However, we feel that the value price ratio is most suited or give the best results in the 500,000 golden visa. So today we will focus on these type of opportunities. So we can move now to the first property we'll show today, which is Duke Residence. This is a very high-end development, one of the most luxurious and beautiful development we have in central Lisbon. You can see the facade here with the traditional architecture element. Here we see the location. We are in the prime business district of Lisbon, an area that is now growing tremendously due to its perfect location. It's just a few minutes away from our office, few minutes away by foot or by public transport to the city center, 15 minutes from the beach. And just outside of this building, you'll have plenty of restaurants, cafe, hotels, and also many offices of big companies are there, and public transport is also very accessible. So you are just in the heart of the city, and you can see here in the images a little bit of the look and feel of the surrounding. In the next slides, we see the overview. This is one of our most serious developers that are behind this stunning project. You can see lots of light and exterior areas for the 3 and 4 bedrooms, which are the majority of the unit, only 15 apartments in this development. And a special gem, which is the townhouse with 4 bedroom and almost 300 square meter of total space, plus a very large garden. In this development, prices start at 1.2 million, and they all come with private outdoor areas, either garden or balcony, and private parking. Also, kitchen and appliances are included in the price, also the air conditioning. Here we see the entrance of the development. You can see the marble finishing, a very high-end development, very classy and stylish entrance for this building. Here we can see how high the floor-to-ceiling dimension are, so lots of space, lots of also decoration on the ceiling, which give a premium finishing to this unit. Also the wooden floorboard. Here we see the some bedroom images. All of them has a private bathroom attached to it, and some of them they do have a balcony or a terrace looking outside. Again, as I said before, the kitchen comes fully equipped, included in the price. You get a dishwasher, an oven, microwave, washing machine, fridge, air conditioning, and heating system. Again, this is all included in the price. So moving on, here we see some external areas. We'll see some more picture in the next slide. Some, they are really spacious spaces outside. Here we even have a small jacuzzi outside. And here another one, beautiful space to enjoy the nice weather in Lisbon. Here we see the 2 units, 2 apartments with a private garden, plus we see the garden of the townhouse, which we'll see in details in the next slide. This is the interior of the townhouse, stunning apartment, stunning house in the center of the city, perfect for a family, with a beautiful outdoor garden, with a swimming pool, a private swimming pool. Here we can see the night view as well. So perfect choice for a family that wants to live in the center of the city, but have the privacy of a townhouse and external areas. All of the units, they come with the 1 or more parking spaces. You can see here some renderings of the garage, underground garage. Okay, here we see very quickly a 3-bedroom which will rent for around 4,000 euros per square meter. Some of them, they have a large outside area, and prices start from 1.3, almost 1.3 million to 2.2. Okay, here we see the 4-bedroom, larger unit, really spacious with lots of space. These units will rent for around 6,000 euros per month. Here we see, I think, the best unit in the development, a townhouse for just over under 3 million. You can get a unique townhouse in the center of Lisbon with a huge garden. This is actually a very, very good opportunity, both as an investment or to use for anyone that wants a place to live in Lisbon. Okay, again here in brief, the price ranges, which we already covered, the payment terms. If anyone is interested in buying a unit, will have to put down a reservation of 10,000 euros, which will be deducted at the signature of the promissory agreement from the first down payment, which is 10%. Then, according to construction progress, 4 additional payments of 10% will be required, bringing the final payment due at the deed around mid-2022 to 50% of the price. This can come either from equity or from a financing. Here we move to the second opportunity, which is Conde de Lima, another beautiful building, some traditional architectural element and lots of modern inlays in it. And we can move on. The location is exactly the same, so we are a few hundred meters away from the previous building. Again, around 10 minutes walk, 15 minutes walk from the historical city center. Also from our office, and just a couple of steps away from public transport, from bars, cafe, restaurants, and everything you need to enjoy the city life. We can see also some images there. The overview, again, one of our largest development and the largest architecture firm in Lisbon behind this project. Here we have 41 apartments. Because it's divided in 2 buildings with 2 separate entrances. We have from studios to 4 bedrooms. Prices for the studio start at 270,000 euros. And the very important thing is that this building has an indoor swimming pool and gym, which are available for all of the tenants. So it's great amenities for the tenants that are residing in these apartments. All of the units, they also come with private parking. Here we can see the satellite image. We can see the 2 blocks that comprise this development with these 2 separate entrances and the garden, the private garden of one of the units. Also in this case, a kitchen is fully included in the price and complete with all the equipment and furniture and appliances you need. Again, here you have air conditioning and heating system as well included. We can see also the original or flooring made of wood. Here we can see another living room with the communication to an open kitchen. Here again, we see another example of it. You see lots of light. Here we see a bedroom. Most of the bedrooms, they do have a private bathroom attached. Here we see the garden of the unit that on the first floor that has a private garden with lots of space. And here we see the gym that is available for our tenants. And in the next slide, we'll see the swimming pool with a beautiful green view to an inner patio full of plants. Okay, here we see an example of a studio. In this case, to fulfill the Golden Visa requirement, you will need 2 studios, purchasing 2 studios. The studios will rent on a long-term basis for around 800 to 900 euros. And our team will be available to help you in securing a tenant and furnishing or any other after-sales service you might need for this unit. Here we see the 1-bedroom apartment. In this case, to fulfill the Golden Visa, in most cases, it will need 1 apartment plus an additional car space to fulfill the Golden Visa requirement, or a furniture package. This type of unit, they rent between 1,400 to 1,600 euros per month. Some of them, they come with an external area. Here we see the 2-bedroom apartment. We can see these as one of the best units because they give more additional private space in this pandemic time where you have to spend a lot of time in-house. This type of unit, they rent for around 2,500 per month, and some of them, they come also with an external veranda. Again, we see here the sales information. To reserve a unit, it will be required a payment for 10,000 euros to block the unit until the lawyer will help you in analyzing the contract. After the signature of the contract, you'll have to pay 20% minus the reservation cost, and then every 6 months you'll have an additional payment of 20%. If you want to apply to the Golden Visa, you'll have to transfer at least 500,000 euros into an account in Portugal, which the lawyer will help you to set up in order to start the application immediately. Once the apartment is completed and the keys and the usability license is issued, the last payment is due, this 40%. Again, this can come from your equity or from bank financing that you might ask. In order to qualify for the Golden Visa, the 500,000 euros must be equity or cash coming from outside of Portugal, but the lawyer will touch on that in details later on. Okay, just very quickly, as I said, mortgage and finance opportunities are extremely interesting at the moment because interest rates are between 1% and 2% per year at this moment, fixed rate, which makes the bank a great co-investor to buy a second unit or to get a larger unit to get a better return on your investment. This return will come in euro, so it's a very good income stream for this uncertain time. Will help you in finding the most suitable lender, which can be directly from a bank or through a mortgage broker that at no cost will help you finding the best interest rate on the market. Once you acquire a unit, there will be around 8% transaction cost, which are triggered only at notarization. You can see here the breakdown. Letting cost, you will be taxed only for the income producing in Portugal, so only from the profit that you generate through the rental of the apartment. You will be taxed as a non-resident around 28%. There are tax advantages that you can explore. The lawyer will be there to help you in that. Disposal cost, when you resell a property, anyone that resell a property will have to pay 28% of the profit generated in the transactions the transaction minus all of the cost. It's important to note that all of the properties in Portugal are freehold, so you will hold this property forever, and you will be able to transfer it to your children, to your sibling, to your next in the inheritance. And importantly, in Portugal, there is no wealth tax and no inheritance tax. So Portugal, according to PwC, it's Europe's best kept secret in order to preserve wealth and to park money. It's one of the best destinations to invest because your capital will be highly protected and will not be taxed heavily. So making Portugal a very appealing destination for investment. Holding costs are extremely low. We are talking about between 0.3 and 0.45% per year of the tax registration value, which is normally roughly 50% lower than the actual market value of the property. Okay? As we said, if you find the right property, we'll be there to help you realizing a virtual tour of the neighborhood and of the unit. So a lot of our clients, they purchase remotely and then fly here to just see the unit afterwards. So we'll be there to help you in selecting a unit remotely, if that's the case of your that's your choice of investment. The lawyer will help you making sure that all of the property documents are crystal clear. So the lawyer, through a power of attorney, as we will see later, will help you find the securing the right property, making sure all the documents are in order, and reviewing the contract before you signing it, and represent you actually at the signature. So after you have a lawyer and it reviews all of the documents and sign the purchase and sale agreement, if it's the property is under construction, there will be a step payment as we've seen before. So you will pay according to construction progress. Once the unit is finished, you will sign the deed, so the transfer of property will occur and the transaction charges will be triggered, and you have to pay these around 8% of closing cost due mainly to the government in terms of fees and taxes. After the unit is finished and under your property, we at JLL, we can help you in furnishing the unit, finding a service to furnish the unit, renting it short-term, long-term, or medium-term, and in some cases we do even have rental guarantee options available. Okay, this was everything from my side. I thank you for your attention. We remain available for any question through the Q&A button you can see on your screen. And I give back the microphone to Marilyn for the next part of the presentation. Thank you again.
Thank you, Filippo, for sharing with us on these two beautiful developments and a clear explanation on the buying procedure in Lisbon. Once again, please remember to post your questions in the Q&A box for Filippo if you have further doubts. So moving on, the most common topic when we speak about Portugal will be the Golden Visa. And the best person to update on this scheme will be our next panelist, Ricardo, who is a lawyer from Martinez Law Firm. Over to you, Ricardo.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Ricardo. I am a lawyer at Martinez Echevarria Law Firm. I have been a lawyer for almost 20 years, dealing mostly with real estate and foreign investment in Portugal. Our law firm is an international law firm with offices all around Portugal and also in Spain and in Turkey. We provide advice in real estate law, lots of support to foreign investment, international advisory for tax litigation and tax optimization, and of course, the famous Golden Visa and non-habitual residency schemes. We would like to share with you some numbers regarding the Golden Visa. As you can see, up until January of this year, we had around 9,200 investments. This is not the total amount of golden visa. This is the amount of investors' cards, because as we will see in some minutes, with the investor, the family can come. So one investment can, for example, compose 6 golden visa cards. As we can see from the sample, of these 9,200 investments, almost 8,700 are done by buying a property. So the golden visa is mostly real estate based. We know why. Filippo and Neo have talked about it. I'm not going to repeat myself, except that it is very good to invest in the real estate market in Portugal. Now, what is the golden visa itself? Well, it is in fact a residency card. It is not a visa. It's much more than a visa. It is a residency card for Portugal, which gives you access to the whole Schengen area. And it is a residency card with a period of 5 years in total, although it has a renewal at year 2, at year 4. It allows, as I said, the family reunification. This means that the children of the investor, the spouse of the investor, the father and the mother of the investor, as long as they are above 65. And as I like to say, for the very strong families, the father-in-law and the mother-in-law of the investor can also be in the program, all with one investment. The minimum requirement stay for golden visa in Portugal is 14 days in the period, or if you want to divide it, as Neo said, 7 days per year is okay. 14 days in every 2 years is also okay. You can divide it as you wish. And of course, you have the possibility after the 5 years to apply to the Portuguese nationality, since you were a resident in Portugal. Of course, there are other requirements for the Portuguese nationality, the most famous one being able to speak Portuguese at an A2 proficiency level. Well, with the golden visa, you will enjoy, of course, Portugal, and we will enjoy this throughout this timeline, all that Portugal has to offer you. As we said, we cannot start the golden visa program without the investment. So the investment is the most important part of it. And in a few minutes, I'm going to tell you how we can do the investment, what are the processes, how can we provide the assistance, how can you do it at a distance even. So, but once we have the investment and other personal documentation, we can start the golden visa. We will apply for the golden visa, and immigration, with very objective criteria, will then process your file and grant you the golden visa. The golden visa, as we saw, is initially renewed at year 2. So between year 0, which is the first day that you have your card, until the end of the validity period of the card, you have to be in Portugal 14 days. We renew again at that moment, and we renew again at year 4. When you reach year 5, we will then be able to apply for permanent residency and for the nationality. Now, also, I'm going to repeat a bit of what was said, because Filippo did a very good explanation of the investments of golden visa. So you have 2 main classes of golden visa investments. The first one, most because it has been in the law since the beginning, it's the 500,000 euros investment. This can be done by buying a single property, any type of property. So you can buy a residential property, you can buy a retail property, you can buy an office, you can buy a plot. So any type of property, as long as it is 500,000 euros or more, it's eligible for the golden visa. Or of course, you can buy 2 properties, 2 studios, like there was an example earlier today, or 1 studio, one shop, as you wish, as long as it is 500,000 euros minimum investment. You can also buy with a partner, for example, half of a building. Imagine there was here very nice properties that started at 1.2. Two people can buy 50% each of that property, and you have two families for golden visa. So you have two golden visa investors. In 2015, there was a change in the law introduced the rehabilitation. The rehabilitation investment is a composed investment. So from one hand, you have to buy a property that is either in a rehabilitation area or more than 30 years old, and you have to support the costs of rehabilitation. So this means that together, the purchase and the costs of rehabilitation are 350. For example, you can buy a property of 250,000 euros and spend 100,000 euros in rehabilitation works, and this is eligible for golden visa. Now, there is both of these investments, if they are done in what is called a low density area, which is an area with less than 100 inhabitants per square kilometer, both of these amounts can be reduced in 20%. So this means that you can invest 400,000 euros in, let's call it a classical investment, or 200 in the rehabilitation investment. And this is valid for the golden visa. These are all golden visa investments that are sanctioned by the immigration. Now, how can we provide the necessary assistance, and how can the golden visa be started? So first and most importantly, please choose wise, choose a good investment, because the underlying investment is the reason that you are doing it. So please choose well a good investment. From our part, we can verify all the legal documentation, all the proper procedures in order to make sure that the purchase is safe, public purchase without any doubt. How do we help you? Well, without you leaving your country, you can sign a power of attorney to us and then send it to us overseas by DHL, for example. The same goes for the requirements for tax number and the requirements for opening a bank account. With the power of attorney, we can provide all of these services for you without you leaving your area of residency or your country. So with this, we can proceed with everything. So we can obtain the tax number, we can open the bank account, we can sign the reservation document of the property, we can sign the promissory contract of the property, and we can sign the title deed of the property. So this would complete the investment. Then you can do this either if you come to Portugal, or I repeat, in current times, you can do this at a distance in your country. While you do this, we can of course obtain the remaining of the documentation for you in Portugal, while you collect the remaining of the documentation back home, the personal documents. And then finally, we will book the biometrics appointment for you, and then you can come at that moment, only then, to Portugal to collect the biometric appointment, and then wait for the golden visa to be approved. Regarding costs of property purchase, I would say in the area of the 500,000 euros, we are talking about 7 to 8% total costs, one shot, when you buy the property. Then, as Filippo also said, yearly you have very little cost, because you have between 0.3 to 0.45% of municipality tax over the tax value of the property, which is indeed usually roughly 50% of the valuation of the property, of the market value of the property. And finally, the biggest cost you need to look to is paying the Portuguese government for issuing the golden visa cards, We have here those costs. I'm not going to bother you with that, with those details for now. So, what are the next steps? Well, next steps is you decide on which investment you need to go through. You start preparing your personal documents, grant us the power of attorney so that we can easily provide services for you, and then we start the process of investment and the process of golden visa with immigration. And finally, I would like to speak about this more, let's call it, doubts that exists regarding the golden visa rules, which are at the moment not existent, in the sense that in the beginning of the year there was a legislative authorization given to the government to change the rules, to make sure that there will be an increased interest in the underdeveloped areas, which led to a big talk of the golden visa leaving the cities. Up until now, and we are in December 3rd, there is no draft of this law. So at the moment, and in the next several months at least, no changes to golden visa rules will occur. We don't know if they will occur in the future or in the near future. Like I said, at least in some months they will not, but after that we don't know. What we know is, if you start the process now, and if we choose the investment and start the golden visa, and while this legislation is still in force, and it will be for the next month, your golden visa is safe under the current rules, and any future changes will not apply to your case. So you will be able to proceed with the golden visa until its end under the current legislation, regardless of any future changes. So if you're thinking about investing in Portugal, if you're thinking about choosing the golden visa, you can do so, and it will be safe, and it will be done under the current legislation. So I'd like to thank you for this, and feel free to contact us anytime.
Thank you, Ricardo, for the informative session on the golden visa. I believe all of us have a clearer picture now. For participants who are keen in the golden visa scheme, I guess it's time to quickly book in an appointment with the consultant for a discussion. Okay, so I see a lot of questions coming in, and we are slightly running short of time. So I shall quickly pass over to Michael from JRL Malaysia to facilitate the Q&A session. Over to you, Michael.
Thank you very much, Marilyn, and also thank you to all our presenters for the informative and insightful presentation. A very good evening to all our esteemed audience. We shall now proceed immediately with the Q&A session. We have the first question here addressed to Filippo. Hi, Filippo. Our audience would like to know, what is the vacancy period to expect before an apartment gets tenanted? What is the average rental yield in general and in specific for the two apartments that you have just mentioned? And are there any rent limit policy in Portugal?
Thank you, Michael, and thank you everyone for the questions. Let me respond. It was a long question. So first of all, the yields in the rental sector in Lisbon are around between 3 and 5%. I would say in average, these units we show today, they have a 4% yield in general. I think it's important to explain that the yield and the price increase of the units will pay all of the costs related to the golden visa. So first, it's a great investment, it's a great income source, and for people that are looking to get the golden visa, their golden visa application cost will be covered by the income generated by the apartment, which is excellent. So you are getting the golden visa with a great investment. Regarding the vacancy period, normally it takes around 1 month to find a suitable tenant from the moment the apartment comes into the market, and we have the pictures, and we have if it's furnished, if it's be to rented furnished, the furniture are in. So I will say around about 1 month. The rental market at the moment, there's still a lot of demand, even with the current restriction in travels. So we do expect to find a tenant pretty fast. I think this was the question. There was other part, Michael? If not, it's back to you.
There was one part about whether there is a rent limit policy in Portugal.
So in some part of Lisbon, especially the historical city center, where most of the price increase have occurred, the government has put some limit on the Airbnb, so short-term apartment. The development we are showing, it's not in a contention area, so there is no limit on the rental period of the apartment. Moreover, the government at the moment put incentives on long-term rental. So sometimes it can be even more convenient to rent long-term versus short-term. If you go to our website, we have the latest reports on rental market in Portugal, and there you find all of the information you want about who's renting, what are the values, and lots of information regarding the rental market. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Filippo, for taking the questions. We have the next questions addressed to Neo. Hi, Neo. Our audience would like to know what is the expected capital and rent yield appreciation for Lisbon property in 2021, and what are the factors that is driving this this appreciation?
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, everyone, for the question. As we show in the previous in the presentation slide, the price growth of 2020 compared to 2019, it was around 15.6%. So due to the COVID situation, we think there's going to be a little bit of impact. I would say it will be around 10%, shouldn't be any mistake. This is our estimation, will be around this. And the factor behind this is because even during the COVID situation, the pandemic situations, a lot of domestic market is remain really active looking for second home. For example, just around my friend, they are looking for a home outside of Lisbon to have more greenery space. So all this will continue make the real estate market remain active. And international developer, they are continue doing projects. Is non-stop. The construction is ongoing. The licenses for more new construction is ongoing. So in terms of like the appreciation, this is what we will see. So I hope I can answer your questions. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, Neil. But for next questions, we have this one addressed to either Filippo or Ricardo. Our audience would like to know, are there any tax benefits with regards to property for individual that has converted to a Portuguese citizenship? And after obtaining a Portuguese citizenship, how will income from abroad be taxed in Portugal, if any?
I will leave Ricardo to respond. I think the lawyer is most suited to respond to this question.
Thank you, Filippo, and thank you, Michael. Well, we need to divide this question into two main categories. First, tax residency, and second, residency. Let's call it civil residency or nationality in the second stage. So you will not be taxed in Portugal, and this is one of the good or the most important factors with the golden visa. For example, you will not be taxed in Portugal unless you spend 183 days in a 12-month period in Portugal, or unless you declare that you want to be taxed in Portugal. So as the Golden Visa clients don't usually spend much time in Portugal, as we saw, 1 week, maybe 2 weeks a year, they will not be taxed in Portugal over their worldwide income. They will only be taxed in Portugal over the property and the income that the property generates. With regards to Portuguese nationality, that was the second and the final part of the question. Well, Portuguese nationality in itself is not a tax residency. So as long as you do not spend these 6 months and 1 day, which is the 183 days per year in Portugal, you, unless you decide to do so, you will not be taxed in Portugal. So you'll only be taxed in Portugal if you fulfill this criteria. With regards to tax benefits, that was another issue in that question, that lead to the nationality. No, that is not the case. The tax benefits that we have that are mostly known are the non-habitual residency program, but that is if you want to become a tax resident in Portugal, you have tax benefits. In some cases, for 10 years, you won't pay any taxes. In other cases, you pay 10% for 10 years. In other cases, you pay 20% for 10 years. But there are two different things. One is the tax benefit. The other is the route to nationality, which comes by residency cards and other issues.
Thank you, Ricardo, for the expert advice. I hope the audience is the question has been answered satisfactorily. We will move on to the next question. We have one that is addressed to Filippo and Neo. Our audience would like to know which is the most sought after and bankable area in Lisbon for buy-to-let investor.
Neo, you can respond.
Yeah, hi. Definitely, I think the most secure location for investment will be near the Avenida Libertad, which in English is Liberty Avenue. For Singaporean clients, you could know it as the Orchard Road. So, of course, over there is a really safe place to invest. And another most sorted area is the historical center. So here it's like a lot of investors will do it because it has a really good vibes. So this will be the most appreciated area in Lisbon so far. And capital is still remain one of the top because of safety and stability. Hope this answer your questions.
Thank you very much, Neil. We'll move on to the next question and just take a few more because we are running short of time. This is addressed to Filippo. Our audience would like to know how many lenders are financing foreigners buying Lisbon property and how long is the processing time to get a loan approved? Can a foreigner apply for mortgage financing immediately after the exchange of contract, or do they have to wait until during completion before they can apply for a mortgage?
So yes, thanks the audience for the question. Who are the lenders? All of the Portuguese banks, they offer financing to non-resident. Policies changes a long time, so when it's closer to your financing period, we'll help you find the bank that is most suitable for you. We do have also mortgage brokers that will send your request to a number of banks and find the best rate at that moment for you. The other question is, when do I have to do the finance? So if the property is under construction, it's advisable to start the financing process only when we are 6 months to completion. Because the bank, they normally block the interest rate and the offer for only 3 to 6 months. So it's better to do it closer to the final completion of the property. However, if a client wants to start immediately, they can do so, but then the bank will require them to pay interest from the moment they request it. So you will start pay interest a little bit earlier in time. A final note, I have to clarify that in order to apply for the golden visa, you need to bring equity. The equity source needs to be compliance to the anti-money laundering rules. So you can bring your money from your bank in Singapore that gives you a loan and you bring it to Portugal. That will be considered as equity in Portugal, or you can transfer your own private equity for €500,000 or 350 in order to qualify the golden visa. Any additional euros of investment you might want to do, that is financeable in Portugal. Or if you are not looking for the golden visa, you can finance any amount in Portugal. Normally it's around 60 to 70% of the property value. We advise to get a mortgage because interest rates are low and you can get the second unit or a larger unit and basically double your yield in euro by using the bank as co-investor with you. So I hope I responded to your question. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Filippo. I think we only have time for one last question. I think this one should be, we should address this to Ricardo. Ricardo, our audience would like to know, when is the last date foreigners are allowed to buy Lisbon property under the Golden Visa program?
Thank you, Michael, for that question. Well, there is at the moment no date. For sure until the end of the year, for sure. But since there is no law at this moment, no law whatsoever, we don't have a date on when the rules will change. I can say, however, that the Portuguese government does not do laws that start changing from one day to the other. So usually when there is a law that changes the process or a law that does big changes, there is a gap. There is what is called a vacation of the law, which is the time between the law being published and the law starting to be in vigency. So I would say we are at least several months away from changes in the rules of the golden visa. So, but we will keep you posted on any legislative changes. You rest assured, as soon as we have the first draft of the law, we will make sure to share it with everyone so that you are well advised on how to do your investment. Thank you to everyone.
Thank you, Ricardo, once again for your expert advice. And with that, we have come to the end of our Q&A sessions. We hope your question has been answered to your satisfaction. And we also note that there are still some questions that we did not manage to cover due to time constraint. Please be rest assured that our consultants from the respective centers will get back to you on this ASAP. Thank you once again for attending the webinar. With that, I will pass the floor back to Marilyn.
Thank you, Michael. So we have come to the end of the webinar. Thank you so much for joining us in today's session. If you have any further questions, please feel free to reach out to our respective sales leads. You may look for Vidya, who is in charge of Singapore and Indonesia, or Christine, who is in charge of Malaysia. Once again, thank you all for your participation, and we look forward to seeing you again in the next webinar. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you to everyone. Bye-bye.